everyone, Mark the Movie Man here. So glad you could join us today. This one's going to go a little long, but it's well deserved because it's an anthology film we're covering today. Phobophobia is the title of it. It's out on streaming now. It's got a wraparound story. Think of kind of a Tales from the Crypt, but where all the short stories that you're getting in this anthology are based off of phobias. I loved that concept quite a bit. Now, many of these shorts did come from earlier. They were released a number of years ago on the festival circuit, and they've compiled them together, and with a wraparound story directed by Sean Donahue, and we get the final ghoul, who is Jessa Flux, who is your horror host for this anthology, having a blast. She just gives these delightful little introductions to all of these interesting short films. They start off with the Fear of Clowns short, which is Phobophobia, I hope I pronounced that right, directed by Chris Leto, familiar name here on the final cut, and giving us a very creepy story here. A guy who is haunted by images of a clown. Therapist is telling him you got to get over it, and it's based off of some childhood trauma, and we see how all of this plays out and how the struggles he has for trying to get over seeing this clown and being afraid of them. Jason Henney plays the guy, Steven, who's afraid of clowns. You feel his fear, his struggle trying to get over this fear. I mean, fear is a hard thing to do, to get over, and you feel that here. I like the way this was directed. We get some flashbacks to a young Steven, played by Jaden Leto, and he did well too. You feel like that's the young version of our main character, and loved how all this played out. The clown, played by Mitchell Herron, is creepy as hell. I'm not afraid of clowns, and he made me creeped out, and so he did a good job there. And there's a couple scenes in here that kind of were Brazil-esque as far as how Steven was trying to handle not falling asleep and not seeing the clown image. Very creepy imagery, and a really solid short to start off this anthology. Then we go next to Claustrophobia, and this time Jason Henney is in the director's chair, where he's telling the story of someone who's afraid, claustrophobia, afraid of tight spaces. And I loved how this played out. There was tension involved. You felt claustrophobic as well. You're trapped inside this coffin, and some weird shit happens, and then this one really was disturbing, and it props to Malin Moreira, who played the Julie character, who was stuck inside the box. You felt her fear in that, and just wow, I mean, really well done, with a very surprising ending. I'm going to say I did not see where that was going to go. Wiccaphobia, the fear of Wicca. Again, Chris Leto here, along with Jake Jabert, direct this short film of this guy who he's in pain, he's having troubles, and he looks to a witch to help him with his pain and being able to walk in that. But the wife doesn't like this idea, and things just get really creepy really freaking quick. And yeah, that short really, man, the way that one played out was disturbing. Now, let me tell you, it makes you, I mean, not just afraid of Wicca so much as just the creepiness of it. And then we get a sclerophobia, which is, I believe, the fear of someone invading your home. And that one was a surprise. Caitlin Struder plays Kelly, who is a woman who is afraid, thinking someone's broken into her house when she's home alone. And yeah, this one has very disturbing, tense ending that is also heartbreaking as well, and the way it goes with this, and the way this is directed by Jennifer Lander, I thought was really well crafted. You didn't quite see where it was going at first, and then even when you do realize what's happening, that just adds more of the tension in here. Then we get agoraphobic, which, the fear of critters, of animals. This one's directed by Sean Donahue. And we have Chris Cavalier in here, a guy who doesn't want to be the third wheel in this trip, but ends up going along. And yeah, things just do not go well from there. Chris Cavalier, I thought, did very well in here for his character as feeling the third wheel. We get Jill, played by Lexi Balistrerier, excuse me if I mispronounce that, but she's from Die Die Delta Pi, and loved her performance in here. And Morgan Middle Brooke plays Tommy, and I think all three do well. Great setup, probably the goriest one of all of the shorts that we get in here. And yeah, a wonderful final shot in this short too that we have. And then Cosmicophobia, which is a fear of aliens, done very well, has some wonderful makeup in it. We get a kid who's listening to podcasts about aliens, the dad who doesn't believe in aliens, his father, the granddad who does, and just the way this thing plays out. Wow, there's some tension in here, especially when you realize exactly what's going on. Some great performances by all, and just, you know, there's a fear of aliens already, and they capture that. And then when you get into the makeup effects, at first I will say chuckled just a little, but then at the same time, looking at them more and more as they're on screen, they're more and more creeped me out. So it was an interesting reaction, and great way to end this anthology. It's a fun anthology, featuring, you know, shorts made of various different production values as you do get in anthology films, but I think it's worth your time. So if you can catch it on streaming, which I believe it is now, I highly recommend it if you like anthology films, especially ones that have kind of a creative theme to them, which Phobophobia does. So thank you so much. Please check out all our Patreon stuff. We got so much stuff over there at reasonable prices. Like, subscribe, and all that here, bells and whistles onto YouTube. I thank you for your support, and until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.